Hello, welcome to the CYF Course. Today we'll start a new series on exploring the Bible with kids. And this session we will speak about how to introduce children to this big book that is the Bible, the Word of God. This is something that is very precious to my heart. I remember one day the Lord told me, you need to read the Bible to your family. My kids, I had two at the time, were very young, maybe 1 and 2.5, and it was difficult. But I tried to start, and little by little they became really in love with this story time. And I did too. And now we are doing that for more than 20 years, and it's still a habit in our family to start the day with Bible reading. So it's a pleasure for me to think about this aspect with you and to give you a few tips to help the children to get acquainted with this big book. God speaks to us a lot about the Bible these last few years. Lauren Cunningham, our YWAM founder, is very much stimulating us to end Bible poverty now all around the world, and to do it in a way that will help people to have a Bible in their own language, but also to know about its content and to be trained in it. So we need this partnership because it's such a huge work that we cannot do it by ourselves. We need this partnership between church, parents, and specialized ministries and mission that works together in order to accomplish this goal. This goal is to translate, is to produce, is to distribute, to teach, and to read the Bible, to saturate the world with the Word of God. This is actually baptizing the nation in the Word of God. And our founder in King's Kids International, Dale Kaufman, speaks to us a lot about the unshakable kingdom in our time where everything is being shaken socially, politically, economically. We see that there are only two things on which we can build our lives that are unshakable, and these two things are the Word of God and the character of God. So we need the Word of God to take much more room in our hearts and lives in the coming season. So that's why we want to develop a 7-step strategy to root the next generation in the Word of God. First, we want to present them, to introduce them to the Word of God so they know what kind of book it is. So we need for them to handle it, to get to know it, to know the content, but also to know how it is organized. We need also to tell it, to storytell. Bible storytelling is so powerful. We need to teach them to read the Word of God. We need to teach them to memorize the Word of God, to study it, to meditate it, and of course to put it into practice. So these are 7 steps that we want to lead the children into. And today we'll start with this aspect of introducing children to the Bible. This is such a big book, and it can be intimidating. This is the book of all records, actually. This is the most read, this is the most sold, this is the most translated, this is the book with the most original manuscripts. It has been written over 1,500 years by nearly 40 authors from all walks of life in 3 languages. In the authors, you can find kings, and you can find shepherds. You can find fishermen. It's people from all walks of life that get together. But behind the human authors, you can find the divine author that is giving the general line throughout the whole book. Actually, the Bible is more than one book. It's a whole library. It's 66 books, 39 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament. And there is a unity that is so amazing in this book. And we need the children to get acquainted with this intimidating book. So when they grow up, it will just be part of their life as a normal book, not just something that is unreachable or something that is so sacred that they don't even dare to touch it. One aspect we can do with children is to teach them the name of the books in the Bible, the 66 books. And we can do it in a lot of different ways. There are many songs on YouTube that you can find, that you can teach to children to learn the books of the Bible in the right order, and they can memorize the order of the Bible books. It will help them later when they are looking for a Bible reference to find it very quickly. I give you one example that we can look at it now. It is one song about the Bible book that I really love from the group Go Fish.
Whoa, 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 hold it right there. Do you have your backstage pass? All right, go on back.
Bible books. Bible book. We'll do the Bible book. Bible book. We'll do the Bible book. Bible book. We're gonna learn all the books from the bottom to the top and do the Bible book. Bible books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. Do the Bible. Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. We'll do the Bible. Do the Bible. Do the Bible. Yeah. First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, First and Second Chronicles. Makes me wanna sing. Do the bop, do the bop. Come on, oh yeah. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. Soak it in your brain like water in a mop and do the Bible book, Bible book. Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs. Do the bop, do the bop. Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs, Isaiah, Jeremiah, do the bop, do the bop, do the bop, yeah. Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, do the bop, everybody do the bop, oh yeah. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book, we'll do the Bible book, Bible book, we'll do the Bible book, Bible book, we'll do the Bible book, your mom and pop, so do the Bible book, Bible books. Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Made it through the old, now let's move on to the new and see what we can find. Made it through the old, now let's move on to the new. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, and Corinthians. 1 and 2. Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Thessalonians. 1 and 2. First and Second Timothy, Titus, and Philemon. Hebrew, James, First and Second Peter, and John. 1, 2, 3, and don't forget Jude. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. 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 We had a lot of fun, I wish we didn't have to stop. Do the Bible book, oh yeah. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. Do the Bible book, Bible book. We'll do the Bible book, Bible book. Gonna learn all the books from the bottom to the top. Soak it in your brain like water in a mop. When you learn this song, you'll impress your mount and pop. We had a lot of fun, I wish we didn't have to stop. Oh no. We'll do the Bible book, Revelation.
Then you can play games with the children. I have found on the web some Bible cards, each one introducing one book of the Bible with a little summary of the book, a little symbol that show what book it is, and one key verse from the book. And we can cut them, and you can play a lot of different games with these cards. I give you a few. For instance, sit down when it's your turn. You shuffle the cards and you distribute one per child. No need to give them all if you don't have 66 children in your group. Sing the song about the Bible books, and when the book they have the card of is quoted, they must sit down. Another example, get in order. You give each player a card and have them stand in the order that those books would be found in the Bible. Why not have a speed contest and try to beat their record? Children between the ages of 6 and 12 are very competitive. As an added challenge, you may ask them to name the books that have not been distributed and that would go in the gaps between the present cards. You can also play memory match. Place all the Old Testament book cards or all of the New Testament book cards on the table, face down in rows. Take turns turning over 2 cards at a time, looking for books that are next to each other. If they make a match, they can take another turn. Example of matches would be Genesis and Exodus, or Hosea and Joel, or John and Acts. Another example of game would be 66 card pickup. Shuffle all the cards and race against the clock to see how quickly you can put the books in order. Either play twice to see if the group can beat their time, or have a challenge to see how many books they can get in order in 2 minutes. There are many other ideas that you can find in my book Passion for the Bible. Then, we want to give the children a global picture of the Bible story. We have discovered with the time that a lot of children know a lot of Bible stories, but they don't have the big picture of the whole Bible story. So they don't really know if Jesus was before Daniel in the lion's den. They don't know if Babylon was before the Act of the Apostles. And they have the individual stories, they know them, but they don't know how to link them, and they don't know the chronology of the stories. So we try to build some games where we ask the children to put the books in the right order. For instance, let's start simply. Let's take 5 Bible stories. You can read them on your screen. And can you put them in 10 seconds in the right order? Could you do it? So, for us it may be easy, for adults, but imagine to do that with children. And by doing this kind of thing, we help them to put the Bible chronology in the right place. You can do that with 10 stories, like, for instance, these ones. If you want to try, please put your video on pause. With teenagers, I did this kind of game with 27 stories. So I put all the stories you see on the screen, I put the titles on a sheet of paper, I cut them, and I put them on the table, and they have to put them in the right order. So it's quite challenging for many of the kids to get the right perspective and the right chronology, but it's really helpful because it gives them the global picture and not just a knowledge of each individual piece of puzzle. You know, it's difficult to put a puzzle together if you don't have the global picture on the box. This picture helps you to know the place of each puzzle piece. But if you don't have it, it is difficult. So we are working also on the big picture by doing these games. So these are a few activities you can do to get the kids acquainted with the Word of God. You can do many other things, it just gives you some ideas. And for other ideas, you can read my book, Passion for the Bible. Now we'll put some questions on the screen, and you can go together, you can pray together, you can share together, you can maybe do some of the activities together to train yourself and to see if the Bible chronology, for instance, is in place for you. Or do you know the order of the book of the Bibles? So you can do this kind of things together. May the Lord bless you.